Today we're going to look at equilateral isosceles triangles and some special properties they have, and then some congruence in right triangles. So we're going to start with isosceles triangle, and so if it's an isosceles triangle and two of the sides are the same, then it also has two congruent angles right here at the base. So B and C would be the same. And the reverse holds true as well. If these angles are congruent, then these two sides are congruent in isosceles triangles, okay? And then with equilateral triangles, if all three angles are the same, then all three sides are the same. And if all three sides are the same, then all three angles are the same. So if it's equilateral, then it's an equiangular triangle. And also if it's equiangular, then it's an equilateral triangle. So we can use that to help us talk about some properties of different triangles. So for example, in this diagram, if NJ, so that's this side here, and NM are congruent, then that means that angle M and angle J are also congruent. Okay? And then we can look at this next one and say if LN and LM are congruent, so those two sides there, then this angle here and this angle here are congruent. Okay, and we have to use three letters to name the angles this time. So LNM and LMN, because this angle N could signify a number of different angles. Okay, then also I'm going to erase my drawings here and then go back to full screen. So also we can look at angles, and so if NKM, so that's this angle here, oops, got to get a pen. This angle here is congruent to NMK, which is this angle here, then we can say this side and this side are congruent as well. So that's NK is congruent to NM. Okay, and then if LJN, so LJN, so this guy right here, this big one, and L and J are congruent, so those two, then LN and LJ are also congruent sides. Okay? So we can also use these properties to figure out missing values. In this case, we see that it's equiangular, so that means all the sides are the same. So very quickly, I know here that this is 31 and that x is equal to 31, because equiangular means equilateral. On this next picture, there's two triangles here. The first one I see here is this equilateral triangle, and I know it's equilateral because it's got a mark on each side, and so I know this is y minus 25, and then this side here is also y minus 25. Okay? And then I also see, oh, this is a right angle right here. And I know all of these angles in this equilateral triangle are 60 degrees because it's also equiangular. And the only way for it to be equiangular is for it to have 60-degree angles. So then I know this guy here is 30 degrees. And so these two are the same. And so I know 180 minus 30 is 150. And so these two added together need to be 150. So I know this one and this one are both 75 degrees. Okay? Which means that y is equal to 75. Well then, I know this side in here, this is y minus 25, and it is the same as this side here because that's an isosceles triangle. So I know y minus 25 equals x. But I know that y is 75, so I then can use that to figure out that x is equal to 50. Okay? Then I can look at this next diagram and again use what I know. So I know that if this is 40 degrees up here, and this is an isosceles triangle, that this angle and this angle are the same, and they need to add up to 140, because isosceles triangles, all triangles add up to 180 degrees. So if we take that 40 away, then these two added together need to be 140. So I'm going to do 140 divided by 2 to get what each of those are, and know that x is equal to 70 degrees. So these are all 70 degrees in this bottom. Okay, now I can use the fact that I know x is equal to 70 and plug it in here. And I know that these are all equal sides because it's equilateral. So x minus y equals 2y plus 10. And so I can plug in 70 for x, add y to both sides, and take away 10. So I get 60 equals 3y. And so then y is going to be equal to 20 on that one. So again, I'm just using what I know about equilateral and isosceles triangles to solve those. Okay? All right, now we're going to look at some right triangle specific information. So when we have a right triangle, we can use something called the hypotenuse leg theorem. And that is just angle side side. And so really the only thing that angle side side works for is right triangles, and the angle has to be the 90-degree angle. Okay? So what that means is that we have this right angle. We know these are both right triangles. We know that this leg is part of both of these. So remember, the legs are the two sides of the right triangle that form the right angle. And then we also know the hypotenuses are equal. So we know a leg, we know the hypotenuse, and we know it's a right triangle. So yes, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DBC because of the hypotenuse leg theorem. Okay? This one here, part B, we see we have right angles, and we know some legs are the same because these are the two sides that form the right angle, but we don't know anything about the hypotenuse. So no, we cannot use this. It's not possible, and we can't use the hypotenuse leg theorem because we don't know the hypotenuse. Okay, so on this one we're saying, okay, what else would we need to prove that these two triangles are congruent using the hypotenuse leg theorem? So LMX, so this triangle here, and LOX, this one here, we know they have one same leg, and we know they have the same, or they both have right angles. To tell that that we could use the hypotenuse leg theorem, we would need to know this side and this side are congruent because those are the hypotenuses. So we would need to know that LO, the hypotenuse, is congruent to LM, the other hypotenuse. Okay? On this next diagram, we have right angles here, and we have the hypotenuse of those triangles, but we would need to know legs. So we would either need to know that AM and CN are congruent, or we would have to know that NB and DM are congruent. So we would need legs to be congruent to be able to use the hypotenuse leg theorem. Okay? But we do use the hypotenuse leg theorem in the same way that we use other congruence theorems. So we can use it to prove these two triangles are the same. So we're going to kind of fill in the blanks in this proof. So the first thing is we see that those are the givens. That's one of the givens right there. And I hate the numbering on this. It's so weird. So we know that those are given. Okay? And then we know that triangle ITV, so this one here is a right triangle, and this other one, IGH. So I'm going to write triangle IGH is also a right triangle because they both have right angles, and that's what the definition of a right triangle is. So this reason here would be definition of right triangle. So they're triangles that have a right angle in them, and that's what makes it a right triangle. Okay, now we have another given. So I know that I'm just going to fill in with this right here. So I is the midpoint of HV. Okay, and we talked about before that whenever we have the information that it's the midpoint, that's almost always going to be like the next reason or one of the next reasons. Okay, so that's where we know, oh, if this I is the midpoint of HV, we know then that this and this are congruent, and that's right here, and that's because of the definition of midpoint. Okay? Now the last thing we want to do is prove our proof statement right here. So triangle IGH is congruent to triangle ITV. And I'm going to see, oh, I have a right angle, I have a leg, and I have the hypotenuse that are all congruent, so I'm going to use the hypotenuse leg theorem. So just like if we're using side angle side or side 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 when triangles aren't right triangles, the hypotenuse leg theorem is just another way we can prove something is congruent, but it only works for right triangles. Okay? Please let me know if you have questions.